today about being a good or bad speaker because this is a theme that I hear a lot. I'll ask someone, what is it that you really want around your speaking? And they'll say, I just want to be good at it. Like I'm really bad at speaking. I'm not good at it. It doesn't come to me naturally. Uh, I'm just not a good public speaker. I want to be able to be good at it. And then I added in here in the title, do you think of yourself as a good public speaker as long as you have time to prepare and know the topic? So I hear this all the time too, that, you know, uh, people will say, well, I can be okay at public speaking. I can be fine if I know the topic. Like I'm totally fine if I know what I'm talking about and I had time to prepare. Do you resonate with that? Write in the chat box. Give me a thumbs up if you relate to this. If you've ever thought that to yourself, like if it's something I know that I've talked about before, if it's a topic I'm comfortable with, then I am a good speaker. Yeah. Well, I hear this all the time. And there's some truth in it. And I also think there's some limiting beliefs in it that I want you to be free of, because when you're free of these limiting beliefs, so much becomes possible for you. First of all, that limiting belief is, I'm fine with speaking as long as I know what I'm talking about and I'm able to prepare. If that's the limiting belief that you're walking around with throughout, your work life, then when a situation comes up that you're asked a question out of the blue, or you're called into a meeting that you weren't prepared for, or things go differently than you thought they would, somebody cuts you off, things go different. That's when you're going to be at odds with the belief. So then you're going to believe that, oh, I'm not a good speaker because I'm not prepared and I haven't thought through everything. And that is going to be really limiting. It's going to limit you. So the reframe I have for you, a different way to think about it is, speaking is a live human experience. Even when it's virtual like this through a video, even when you're across the world from each other, or it's recorded or anything, it's still a live human experience. That's what it is. And until you embrace that and relax into it, you'll always be a little bit anxious or nervous that things are going to go differently than you planned. Does that make sense? See, authenticity flows through improvisation. And improvisation only arises if you allow space for it to arise, right? For things to happen in the way that they organically want to happen in the moment, for you to find the words that are meant to be said in that moment. This is my philosophy. Improvisation is not about having no plan. I talk about this in other videos about scripting and preparation around content, but improvisation is about being flexible and fluid, knowing what you're there for, having intentions, but being able to flow and hold your center. So that's a skill in and of itself. And there was something else I wanted to get to today. Yes, self-criticism. Yeah. So if you tend to get stuck in self-criticism of, am I doing a good job with speaking? And am I doing a bad job if I'm not prepared and I don't know the content, if I totally failed? This is the other side of this same thing we're talking about. Then that self-criticism is part of what's limiting, right? And self-criticism is a hard habit to break. But I want to bring your attention to the extremes that we've already talked about, that there's good and bad. It's a black and white setup in your mind. Black and white. So there can't be anything in between. You're setting yourself up for failure. Does that make sense? You're setting yourself up for failure. I have a great teacher that I've been working with that I learned from, that black and white thinking is like a phase of development that humans go through earlier in life, like when they're kids. I can't remember the exact numbers of ages, but I believe it's something like ages 2 to 10, something like that. If you know the exact ages that I'm talking about, put that in the comments below. I would love to hear it. But it's early in our lives. There's a phase when there's very strong black and white thinking that actually the purpose of that is to help us survive. So, no, our parents will say, don't cross the street without looking both ways, or don't cross the street without holding my hand, or something like that, right? And the reason they're saying such a black and white thing is because they're trying to keep us safe, because they know we're not old enough to fully understand everything that's happening. Yeah. Now, there is a natural process where we're supposed to grow out of that black and white thinking. And I think we generally do in terms of things like crossing the street. But when it comes to deeper things about, like, am I a good person or am I a bad person? Am I good at public speaking or am I bad? We can get really stuck in the black and white thinking. When actually, what I've discovered as an adult is that most of life is a gray zone, total gray zone. Almost all of life is a gray zone. And that's the evolution of our emotional health as we grow into adulthood. So, a lot of times with public speaking, the light gets shined on the parts of us that have not really grown up fully. And so self-criticism takes over, which is a very young part of you that is insecure, right? So life is really a gray zone, and authenticity actually arises from the gray zone. You following me? Back to that reframe that I was talking about. So I hope this was helpful for you to let go of the labels of good and bad and the self-criticism, and realize the counterintuitive thing to do is live in the gray zone of not knowing what's going to happen, and improvising and get comfortable there. Like, for example, with this broadcast that I'm doing right now, I had a title and I have those 3 bullet points, but I'm rolling through and discovering what needs to be said. That is always going to be the most authentic way to show up as a speaker. And I think ultimately the greatest way to be of service to your audience. So if this was helpful to you, give me a like on this video, pass it on to a friend that needs it, and then join the Facebook group that can help you further with further tips and tools. Also, there's a free gift, a new free gift as part of the description here. So go ahead and grab that free gift where you can learn my whole 4-step framework for overcoming public speaking nerves. I actually call it the Confident and Comfortable Speaker, or Confident and Comfortable Communicator Roadmap. So you'll learn the whole framework that I teach my clients, which part of it is what we're talking about, of relaxing and letting go, and working on improvisation. So you'll see it all in there. Go ahead and grab that roadmap, and I'll see you in the next video.